Now, before we dive into the markets, there's a slew of headlines coming out of this year's Money 2020 Europe event in Amsterdam. Kristen Scholler, Strategic Planning Manager and Senior Content Creator for the NYSE, is on the ground in Amsterdam with more. Good morning, or I should say good afternoon to you, Kristen. Great to have you on here. Tell us, what are the biggest developments to unfold during day 2 of Money 2020 Europe?
Caroline, that's exactly right. We are in the midst of all the action here in Amsterdam at Money 2020 Europe, and the theme this year is the future of money, bringing together world leaders and global business executives from all over the place, small fintech companies, medium-sized businesses, and yes, the biggest players out there, including publicly traded NYSE-listed firms like MasterCard, Visa, and ING, all in one place to talk about how we push innovation forward. And some of the themes really on display here, you mentioned interest rates earlier. What does it mean that the U.S. is holding interest rates steady for places like Europe that are actually seeing interest rates lower? What does that mean for its banking system? In fact, ING CEO joined me on the main stage just yesterday to talk about that, and more broadly, sustainability across European banking plus consolidation, because one thing that is happening here on the ground in real time is partnerships, collaboration. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment, plus perhaps some potential M&A down the road.
Well, speaking of partnership and collaboration, Kristen, there is a lot of breaking news at Money 2020 Europe, starting with this Klarna and NYSE-listed Visa deal launching the pilot of a new debit card. What are the companies saying about that, and why does that offering stand out?
Yeah, this one is interesting. This is the so-called Klarna card. Many people know Klarna around the world. It does have a growing customer base. It's had a main stage presence here as well. And this is a company based in Stockholm, but looking to expand in the U.S. And by partnering with Visa on this new card that's going to allow you to make interest-free payments over time, it is looking to capture a user base of 150 million plus merchants. Transactions that can happen in those merchants around the world, and expand Klarna as it is looking to grow across the continent and the world.
Kristen, meanwhile, Revolut is joining the European Payments Initiative. Why is that so significant, especially for accounts-to-accounts payment platform Wero?
Yeah, so one of the terms being used here quite frequently, Caroline, is neobank, right? These are these smaller banks, innovators on the scene, not ones that are publicly traded just yet, but Revolut, in fact, is Europe's largest neobank, and even the large heavy hitters like ING, which I referenced earlier, that's Netherlands' largest lender. It has tens of millions of customers around the continent and the world, and it does see Revolut as some company that could potentially take share, which is why it's interested in M&A. This case with Revolut is going to expand its particular customer base this summer in key markets like Belgium, Germany, and France, and that is going to mean that it's going to have more eyeballs of some of the largest heavy hitters out there as they try to compete for market share, increase transactions, and expand the services digitally that they offer to their user bases. A lot of these individual fintechs can offer one or two services, not necessarily the entire suite per se of an established bank, but certainly the established banks are taking note.
And then there's another pair of NYSE-listed financial firms, Deutsche Bank and MasterCard. They announced a strategic partnership. What does that aim to deliver to merchants around Europe, Kristen?
Yeah, so these news releases, Caroline, that have been rolling out over the course of the past 2 days are really to drum up momentum and excitement and push the innovations forward. In this particular case, it's all about MasterCard's open banking technology, integrating that into Deutsche Bank's platform and trying to make that account-to-account payment much more seamless and real time. That means faster transactions, faster payments, more efficient processes. And when it comes to financial technology, that has truly been a key focus. I think one takeaway here holistically that we see in one-on-one conversations that we're having, certainly interviews that we're doing here in our studio space on the ground, and those will roll out in the course of the next 2 weeks or so, plus conversations happening on stage, it's that cross-border transactions are elevating global capital market flows. And so the more action that you see, certainly the more business there is to be done. And the tagline of this year's event is where money does business, and I can tell you that is certainly in action here as we have just about one more day left in Amsterdam.
So Kristen, if cross-border traffic continues to drive growth, that's a pretty good sign for the consumer, right?
It is a good sign for the consumer indeed, and look, the consumer wants that. Faster transactions probably mean faster spending as well, and that's a knock-on effect for the economy. So we've been gauging those sentiments across the board, but certainly there's a lot of optimism here. Probably the most optimism, in fact, that we've seen since COVID based on some of the conversations. So certainly the excitement is palpable.
All right, great to hear. Kristen Scholler, Strategic Planning Manager and Senior Content Creator for the NYSE. Thank you so much.